Hey everybody, this is the AllFactsPodcast here on Talking with Jay. I'm very excited and happy that Jay out here actually reached out to me and said, "Yo, you gotta hop on the pod. We gotta talk about the Leafs." I'm pretty sure everyone knows, especially from watch if you've seen my podcast. I'm a Leafs fan. Jay here is a Leafs fan. We actually have a Habs fan in this call. I'll go to him in probably a minute, and so you're probably gonna expect just straight up beef and.
Yup.
Just have fun for the ride. Have fun for the ride. And the topic we actually are going to go over is the Leafs' chances in the playoffs. And I think that this is such a broad topic. Everyone has completely different opinions on it. Yeah. Jay, I feel, has very strong opinions. He feels they're going for the cup, especially when they wear the St. Pat's jersey. I will say it's all up to the core four. The core four, for some reason, underperformed the playoffs. Like, we all know that. But this year's kind of a bit different. We have the Chief Berube, we have Coach Berube. They actually have the best defensive depth since the Matthews era.
Sundin, you know.
I can't really, honestly, now it's not the core four anymore, man. It's the core five. Matthew Nyes has been there. Matthew Nyes has been the guy. He's
he has. But I think Nylander's been very consistent in the playoffs. You gotta give him a little bit of credit. You know, in the past 4 or 5 playoff runs, he's always the one that's grinding. You know,
Oh yeah, Styles, Mr. Styles. Yeah, he's a beauty.
Mr. Styles, he's a beauty, bro.
Actually, true. Will fine. Leave out William Nylander because he does perform, especially in the elimination games. But honestly, I'll shift it off to William, the big Habs fan out here. I want to hear his opinions first, and then we'll go to see Jay. You talk, everyone. And then everyone will chip in whenever they like to.
All right.
Yeah, Big W here. How's it going, guys?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, bud?
I think did the Leafs beat the Habs
today? 1-0 by the great Mitch Marner, you know?
Sorry. I'm too famous, guys. Too many people talking to me at once right now. Hey, calm it down a bit. But
William, why don't you turn your camera, boss?
Hold on. Is the camera being recorded too?
Yeah, of course, buddy.
Yeah, so that might be the reason why it's not being turned on, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little shy guy, you know. Habs fans are a bit shy, you know. It's okay, you know.
Yeah,
he has other commitments, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, yeah, we'll let you go though. Yeah, continue though.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest with you. It's the same conversation you guys have been having ever since you guys stepped foot in the playoffs in the Matthews era. Yeah, so this year we're different. We got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. We got stronger defense, stronger offense, more depth. We got Nick Foligno. Oh my God, we're gonna make it this year. Oh shoot, we got Jack Campbell. We got a goalie sorted out too this year. Guys, let's not kid ourselves. Until we see results in the playoffs, the Leafs they equal laughs. Leafs equal laughs.
I would like to say one thing. We asked you to talk about the Leafs, not the Montreal Canadiens. I understand Montreal's 15th seed, 16th seed. But, we wanted you to go more in depth about like the Leafs, not the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Could you please elaborate a little bit more about how their regular season success has been so far and how that may reflect, in the playoffs? We want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So as maybe you've heard, they can look in the recording. I don't remember mentioning Montreal even once, but I digress. Your point. Well, it's all good. We'll move on to that later.
Your points seem to reflect Montreal a little bit more. You guys
No. What I'm saying is, you guys talk about the same thing every year, right? So look, what happened in 2021?
You want to know what happened in 2021?
Actually, take it back 1 year. The play-in round versus Columbus. What happened? You guys got Pierre-Luc Dubois, the brothers on the Capitals, and you guys got Dubois. Is Jay here? Is he talking or is he gonna talk? What's his plan?
He's gonna pitch in. What are your thoughts on?
Unfortunately, you're gonna get Pierre-Luc Dubois if you make the playoffs, which you're not even in the playoffs yet. You need one more point. So let's not get too excited.
Okay, let's not kid ourselves. Montreal will make the playoffs. Let's not kid ourselves. You guys
trying to sneak in like a rat. You're gonna play Washington in the first round.
You're talking about rats. Y'all got swept by the rats. Y'all got swept 4-0 by rats. Why are you talking about rats?
He's gonna kill Montreal. He's from Montreal, man. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna kill Montreal. He's playing for Washington now. He doesn't play for Montreal anymore, right? What you're not understanding is that Montreal, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, to be honest. They snuck in, right? Like, they're trying to sneak in. They're not still in yet. There's still one. They still need one more point. They got 1 point because the Leafs played a stupid game today. They should have won in regulation, and they should have kept Montreal 2 points behind. But the Leafs feel sorry for Montreal, so they give them a point today. So you understand what I mean? Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Because
I'm
they
talking about
outshot,
stories
no,
out
no,
here.
they
What's going
outshot
on?
Montreal 27-9. Montreal has 9 shots on net. Do you think they deserve a point? Do you even know how to spell hockey, or do you watch cricket, or like what the like? Let's be honest here, man. Like, I mean, like if a team has 9 shots on net in 3 periods, do they deserve a point? I don't think so, man. Like most hockey teams, right? Let's be honest here, right? Like you have 9 shots on net in 3
Oh shoot,
periods.
my
Do
mic
you
got muted.
deserve a point?
Yo, why does it automatically mute sometimes? Is that you guys?
That's
No,
probably
there's no
you.
mute here, man. Montreal, like, let's be honest. If
Yo,
they make the playoffs, they're playing Washington. You think they're gonna beat Washington? Like, be honest with yourself.
who
Like,
are
I
you guys
mean,
playing? Who are you guys playing?
we'll play Ottawa, man. If we win the division, or we'll play.
Oh,
Yo,
moving like usual,
We can't
baby.
beat Ottawa. We beat Ottawa. We always beat Ottawa in the playoffs. This is our history.
Never lost to them, baby. That's how we do
yeah,
it.
it's
Doesn't
all,
matter.
yo,
We beat
always with
them
the
in the
How we
history,
do
eh?
regular
it,
Always with
huh?
the
season, but
history.
it doesn't mean anything. In the playoffs, we beat them all the time.
Okay, look. Let's get down to the roots of the topic today. You guys
Sure.
are talking about Leafs and playoffs. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you,
How deep of a
Mr.
run do
J.
you think they'll
No,
make
no,
this
no, no.
year?
1 sec.
Okay,
Before
okay.
we even get there,
Yeah.
Mr. J.
Yeah.
Right? I have to treat you with a little bit of respect. You know, you're my elder,
No,
right?
it's okay.
Yeah. This the banter stays in the banter, and then once the call ends, there's no more banter, of course, right?
There's no banter. Montreal's not in the playoffs yet. They still need 1 point.
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
What
Okay,
if they
buddy.
lose the
Let's.
next 3
I want
games?
you. I want.
Do
I want
you
you
do
to
you
walk
know
me
that or
through.
not?
I want you to walk me through the last few years of the Leafs in the playoffs and what went wrong.
Nothing went wrong.
Yeah, because you guys won a cup, right? Nothing went wrong, right?
Winning a cup. Do you even know when Montreal won the cup last time?
You see how he dodges the question,
No,
and he
I'm
asks
not
his own
asking the
question.
Yo,
question.
no, answer the
Like
question.
you're
He's
talking
asking
about.
you a question.
No, I'm
No,
asking you a
no,
question. What?
y'all's
No,
last,
no. Please tell me.
you.
No, no. Because I want to figure out: do you watch hockey or do you watch cricket? Because if you don't know when the Montreal won a cup, that means you're not a Montreal fan. Like you're
No,
lying to
I'm
yourself.
sorry. I don't think I was born in 1967 to see your guys' last win. Okay, so I don't know what you might have been there at that time. I was not, unfortunately.
But can you tell me when the last time Montreal won a cup?
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. Like
What is
if you
it?
want me to tell you,
Did you Google
I think it
it?
was.
Where you born? Like, can
No,
you
I
tell
was not
me?
even born. I was not even born.
Okay, so then you're not a Montreal fan. Because if you weren't born to see the, no, because if you weren't born to see them win a cup, how can you be a fan, man? You never
Wait,
saw it,
so
right?
were you born in 1967 before that?
No, I wasn't born in '67, but my whole family was born before
No,
then. Yeah,
bro.
and
Why are we
that's
moving the
why we're Leaf
goalpost?
fans, and we have a
No.
history.
Wait,
Your family,
have you ever seen the Leafs win?
they're Pakistani
Yo,
cricket fans, man. Like they
But
don't even know how to
have you
play
ever seen the
hockey.
Leafs
You
win?
idiot. They
Have you
never
ever seen the
watched
Leafs win?
hockey. They never played hockey. Our whole families, we've been playing hockey. We've been in Canada longer than most of your family. Like we've been here since the '60s, '50s.
Have you ever seen the Leafs win?
My dad's seen the Leafs win. My
No,
mom's seen
buddy.
the
I'm
Leafs
asking, have
win.
you
It
ever
doesn't
seen the Leafs
matter.
win?
It
Have
doesn't
you?
matter if I didn't see them
You just
win.
asked me, so I'm
My
asking the same
family,
question back.
my family's been
Use
here
the same energy.
longer than your family, unfortunately. Right? You never. So your family just. When did your family come to Canada, man?
That's between me and my family.
No, no. Tell me. My
No.
family's been
You
here in
tell
the
me,
'50s.
were you alive? So you're asking me if I
No,
was
no,
alive when
I
when
wasn't
what?
alive, but my dad, my mom, your mom and dad didn't see the Montreal Canadiens win a Stanley Cup. That's what I'm trying
N-
to say. You came to Canada after '95, right?
Okay, you're talking about someone else right now
No,
because you
I'm
mentioned to
being
me.
honest with you.
Okay,
So
let's go back to the topic. Let's
how
go
can
back to
you
the
be a
topic.
Montreal Canadian fan when your family wasn't even here? You don't even watch hockey, man. You watch cricket. Like, come on, man. Think about it. You know, like, you don't even, you have no history in this country. You guys should be living in Pakistan or India or, where they play cricket. You don't even know how to spell hockey. You don't know who Patrick Roy is. You don't know his number. We used to collect cards when you weren't even here, man. Like, I mean, like, me and my uncle, we used to run a hockey card shop in Cambridge when you weren't even here at Nobel Farms, man. Like, I mean, you know nothing about hockey, and you're talking about the Montreal Canadiens. Like, it's like,
Okay,
Like,
Yo, just right.
do you know who Belleville is? Do you know Lafleur is? Do you know Patrick Roy? Do
Yes,
you
I
know
know
any of
who
these
Jean
players
Beliveau
or
is. I
not?
know who
Or
Guy Lafleur is.
come on, think about it. Like, you know.
Let's redirect back to the topic though. Can we get
Yeah.
back on
The
your
topic
main point though?
is that Montreal is a garbage team. They're a rat. They're trying to sneak into the playoffs, which they haven't made
You
yet.
guys are the ones who
I
got
mean, we
swept
don't
by
even know
Rats
if they're
a
gonna
few
make
years
the
ago.
playoffs, right? And the Leafs are in the playoffs.
Hold on. Can I say one thing?
We've clinched a spot since last week, right? Like we've been running around trying to help Montreal make the playoffs because we feel sorry for them. You understand what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah, I know 100%. I understand.
All right,
Let
fair,
me say
fine.
one
No,
thing. Let me
no.
say one thing. You're talking about
True,
Rats here, right?
though. It's the truth.
Remember when you guys won your first round in like 110 years and then got swept by the
Not
Rats?
110 years. You see, you haven't been in Canada long enough. Maybe you were living in India
You
or
guys got
Pakistan or
swept. You guys got swept.
Bangladesh or somewhere like I don't know
4-0.
China or
You guys didn't
like
even
God
win
knows
one
where
game.
you were living, right? Like, but the thing is that maybe your family was living in Saudi Arabia or some other Middle East country, right? The history is that the Leafs have won rounds now because you weren't around or you weren't born. It's not my fault, right? When Matt
No.
Sundin, Gary
Talk
Roberts,
about
Joe
recent. Talk about
Nieuwendyk,
the
Ty
recent years.
Domi, Darcy Tucker, we used to go to conference finals every year. We beat Ottawa, we beat Buffalo, we beat all the teams that were
Well,
in the playoffs.
you guys
Toronto
didn't
used
win
to make the
anything because
playoffs back then,
you guys didn't was 67.
No, that's easy to Google, right? Because that's all you
Oh,
do, right? Is
buddy.
you Google, right? But
You're right
I'm
now. You're running
saying
around. You're
you
running
don't
around on
watch
your own right now.
hockey. You Google shit, right? Because you watch cricket. The problem is when you watch hockey every year, right? Then you know, right? The
Yeah,
Leafs.
then 1967.
It's not about 1967. Charleston won since 1993.
Yeah,
It's
67,
pretty much the
93.
same, man.
Maybe you want me to teach you how numbers work or how the
I
years.
know how numbers work. It's 2025. How long has it been since Montreal won a cup?
And how long has it been since Leafs have won the cup?
Who cares, man? It's the same thing. If 32 years
Yeah,
and four,
you're talking about the same
it's
thing.
not a
You're
big
making
difference.
you're
It's the same thing,
Yo,
man.
He's right, bro.
Habs fans love to celebrate losing in the 2021 finals, which does not make any sense to me. You know, like if I was a Habs fan, I would be frustrated at that finals loss. But it seems that a lot of Habs fans love to celebrate.
respectfully.
Like Jay, could you touch on this? Like I don't know why they love to celebrate that 2021 loss because it's still losing. You know?
The reason is, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Montreal, okay, they beat Toronto, whatever, however they won, right? But
Yeah,
they
reverse
got to
sweep.
the
Go
final.
ahead. Yeah.
It's a COVID year, right? It's not a full season.
Yeah, it's a
Like
COVID
in
year. This
hockey,
year,
you have to
that
play
happened.
82
This
games,
happened.
and then
All
you
the
have to win a
excuses
cup.
in the book.
So, like, I'm
We
gonna be
got everything.
honest with you, man. Tampa Bay won the cup. They got a free cup. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. They didn't play a full season. They played 40 games, right? And then
No, it was not 40 games. It was 65.
whatever, 40, 65, same thing. It wasn't a full season though, right? It's like the same thing that, like I always tell people, I'm the biggest LeBron fan that's ever lived in this world. These guys know Bilal and Qasim, right? But like when the Lakers won with the COVID year, like that's not a championship. I'm sorry. Like I'm not gonna because LeBron, sorry, he didn't play 82 games. Like if you don't play 82 games and you win a championship, right, in basketball or hockey, I'm sorry, that doesn't count as a champion. To me, LeBron has 3 rings. He doesn't have 4.
And they had like a
I'm sorry.
How are we talking about basketball right now?
If you don't play the full season and you win a championship, that's not a ring.
Leafs playoffs to
Because
LeBron
Michael
James
Jordan,
legacy?
no, let me give you something. This is why Michael Jordan still is the king also, is because he never played 42 games and won a championship. He won 6 rings, playing 82 games every year, winning 6 rings, doing 3 feats. So at the end of the day, LeBron is the king because he has more points, but it doesn't mean LeBron has one championship that's tainted. The reason being is he only played half a season.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Jay, going back on topic, what are your thoughts about the Leafs this season and their potential success in this year's playoffs?
So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Look, I'm not saying that the Leafs are winning a Stanley Cup this year because I'm not like William who thinks Montreal is gonna win the Stanley Cup, which which
I don't think that.
I don't. They're
And
not
my name
even in
is
the
William, and
playoffs.
I don't
So I
think.
mean, like, let's be honest. Like, but
Name's
what I'm
Willie.
gonna do for you
His name's
guys is
Willie.
I'm gonna be realistic, right? And I'm gonna because I'm a practical person, right?
Yeah.
The Leafs, what they have to do right now is if they want to at least go to the conference finals, is they have to win a division. That way, Tampa Bay and Florida can battle it out together, right? And
Hmm.
Who would be your guys' starting goalie? Is it Stolars or is it
it's always Stolars, man. Let's be
always
honest.
Solar.
Stolars?
Yeah, the
Okay.
reason being is Stolars has got a ring. He was with
Mm.
Florida last year, right? And so Joseph Love is a good guy. I like him, but he's killed us. Some of the
Really?
games that we've been watching, he's been giving up some
Sometimes he
soft
falls
goals, right?
asleep in the
He's a young
Mm.
kid, right? If I'm the Leafs, I'm starting Stolars,
Mm.
right? Because
My concern, right, with the Leafs
yeah,
always is that like no matter which goalie you guys have, the opposing goalie is always better. You have Bobrovsky, you had Price. This year you have, I think the Senators are gonna have Omar back. Like, don't
excellent.
I,
No,
if
you
you
Omar's
have a
actually gonna
good
be the
point.
key to that series.
Look,
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. They're gonna play Ottawa. I live in the Ottawa area, and I've been
yeah,
watching the Senators very closely.
yeah, they've been
And
good. They've been very
Ottawa
good.
has owned the Leafs this year. These guys
Yeah.
all know. All Leaf fans know this. They beat them
yeah.
4 games in a row, right?
Mm.
Okay. So but the thing is, every time, like most Leaf fans, right, that have watched Toronto and Ottawa play in the regular season, the Leafs, for some reason, haven't shown up. They've been slower, right? They've been taking it easy. Maybe they think Ottawa is a soft team or whatever. I don't know what the problem is, right? To be honest,
Yeah.
but we are hoping as Leaf fans, we have to be a little bit optimistic and loyal to our team, right? That the Leafs, when the playoffs start, they can hopefully turn it on.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, right, this is the first year. Who do you guys acquire? You guys have Tanev, and there was someone else you guys acquired on the
Brandon
on the
Carlo,
Carlo,
Roman
Carlo,
Narcisse.
Carlo,
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 yeah.
Carlo,
Yeah,
Carlo.
look,
Yeah,
no,
this is the first year where the defense I feel like is 10 times better than the last few years.
no, you're right. But the
Yeah,
problem is, it's not about the defense. The defense has played great this year, right?
yeah.
The
It's the
goaltending's
players
been
not showing
decent.
up.
The problem is, like, and I've told these guys, we've done podcasts before, right? Matthews, Marner, right? They
Yeah,
have to play to their contract. If they
Tavares.
don't
Yep.
play, if they're not scoring goals and they're just, roaming around and going to clubs and not showing up, right? Like then what's going to happen is, and they're going to casinos and they're not, you know what I mean? Like, because the
And
Mm.
problem,
golfing too. You can't
Yeah.
forget about golfing.
like, yeah, like I'm being honest, right? Like,
Yeah.
what we need these guys to do is they need to get serious, right? They need to play to the $13 million contracts that they've signed, and they need to score some goals. Because if they're
Yeah.
not scoring the goals, they can't depend on Robertson and Domi and
Who,
and
who's
Nylander just
Camp.
get squad.
It's
Martin
not
Crow.
their job. They get $5 a day,
Yo, one
right, to
mic.
play hockey. Let's be honest with it. So
who's on the third and fourth lines this year?
well,
Who's
yeah,
been
so it's Robertson, it's
mm,
Camp, it's these type of guys, Domies, and
Domi,
so
Waddin and all
yeah,
that.
you can't really
you
rely on
no
them.
no let's
Yeah,
be honest, right? If I gave you $13 million, right, and
yeah,
you're not scoring goals for me in the playoffs, that's an issue, right?
yeah, 100%.
Of course it is, right? It doesn't matter what team you follow. If I give a player 12 and $13 million and they've scored 40 goals in the regular season and they can't score in the playoffs, I'm sorry, man. Like, I mean, there's a
Yeah,
problem, right?
yeah,
Well,
100%. Yeah.
to be optimistic, Marner has been playing good at least this season
No,
because he has a
Ah,
contract
that's
year.
every year
I
though.
agree with her. Marner's been playing good in the regular season, but can he do the same thing in the playoffs when they play Ottawa in
That's
the
the
first round?
issue.
This is the
That's the
question, right?
issue. Same with Austin Matthews
He's
too.
also up on his contract too, right? I mean, he's
Yeah, a
going
lot
to
of people
free
saying
agency
he's been
still.
You know,
playing a bit better more this season, Tavares and Marner, because it's their
Good point.
contract years. They
Yeah,
want.
I'm gonna be honest, right? I'm gonna be honest. I truly do not. I think if you guys get another first round exit, I don't see you guys re-signing Marner
no,
No,
like
yeah, I
to
don't think
no.
anything.
so.
We can't
No,
re-sign him. He's gonna leave himself.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
He's
no,
probably gonna leave
yeah.
the
yeah,
West.
because he's a free agent, right? So the thing is, what happens is that if we don't get out of the first round this year, Toronto, right? That means that Marner knows that there's something wrong with this team, right?
Yeah.
So, and Marner is a professional athlete, right? So
Yeah.
he can get the same money anywhere on any team because everybody loves Marner. He could go to Boston, he could go to
Chicago
Utah,
probably.
he could go to any team, Chicago, any team
And
you want. Maybe he goes to Montreal. Maybe he,
yeah,
no, no,
you
you never
never
know,
know,
right?
man.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
the money.
If
Yeah.
Montreal gives him more money, he'll go to Montreal. Montreal. The problem with Montreal is that they have a good young core, right? But they never spent any money to get some superstars or veterans.
Yeah.
This is why
Yeah, because
Montreal is trying
there's
to
no
sneak
point.
into the playoffs, right?
No,
You
no,
understand
no,
what I'm
no,
saying?
no. That's not a good point. That's not a good point. Because the reason why we did not spend any money
Yeah.
is because there was not a single expectation that Montreal right now would be in a playoff spot.
No, no. But
Yeah.
imagine if Montreal signed a couple of veteran free agents in the offseason, right?
No, no, but I'm honestly very, very glad that they did not.
No, they should have.
Because what's the
No,
point?
no, no.
No, you're not
The
gonna.
point
If
is
you're gonna
because
put
Montreal's in the
if you're
playoffs,
gonna put
right? You never
if you're
know,
yeah
right?
if you're gonna put old vets in places where you want your young talent to shine, respectfully, you're not doing a good job as a coach, especially in the year where you're not even planning on making the playoffs, but you have made the playoffs because other teams like Boston have fallen off, totally fallen
No,
off
no,
the
I
radar.
understand that. You know, Montreal has 24 cups.
Really,
You know how
wow.
embarrassing it is? I talk to Montreal Canadian fans every day. You know how embarrassing? Unfortunately, you don't know the history of the Montreal Canadiens, right? Like
I
in the
know nothing, yo.
70s and 80s and 90s, they won all the cups. So you know how Montreal only plays one sport, which is hockey. They don't play cricket. They don't play
Yeah, they
baseball.
don't.
They don't play
You see,
Don't play
basketball.
do you
football.
see
They got
No,
cut
no,
do you
down,
see
you
man.
know,
Toronto
no,
Gladiators playing cricket or
understand
something?
what I'm trying to say. You know how embarrassing it is that
You have
Nick
Toronto
Suzuki
Vikings
is
playing
their
cricket or something?
captain. No, no. Do you know how embarrassing it is for You're not French. You're Pakistani or whatever. If you were French, I talk to French people in Ottawa every day, right? Which are embarrassed that they used to have Maurice Richard, Jean
Yeah, yeah.
Beliveau.
It is definitely a
They
little
used to have
embarrassing. Yeah.
all these French superstars, Bob Gainey, right? Like all the people that won the cups for them, right? You know how embarrassing it is when you have one team in your city and you can't.
Yep. Toronto has one team too, buddy.
No, no. Toronto has many teams. Toronto has
Yeah,
the
the
Blue
Raptors
Jays.
are a good team.
Toronto has the
Okay.
Raptors.
Okay. I
Toronto
thought you were
has
talking about
many
They're
hockey.
teams.
all
No, no. You
Yeah.
don't. This is where you're wrong. Toronto,
Okay.
Toronto
Sorry
has
about that one.
multiple sports. People watch basketball, which is only one team. People
Yeah.
watch baseball, which is only one team in
Yeah.
Canada. So
Yes.
no, no.
Yeah, man.
Toronto is a more multicultural,
Hundred
more
percent. Yeah.
open city than Montreal.
Diverse.
Montreal,
Yes,
they
I
only
agree.
watch hockey. They don't watch
Yep.
baseball.
Yeah.
They don't watch basketball. They don't watch nothing. That's why they don't have any teams, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
Toronto, right? At the end of the day, right? Toronto gives you an option. If you don't like hockey, you can watch basketball. If you don't like basketball,
Okay.
you
I'm not
can watch
understanding the
baseball.
point of
If you
the.
don't like baseball, you can go watch lacrosse. Yeah, if you don't like lacrosse, you can go fucking watch the CFL. Toronto gives you options. There's a difference between Toronto and Montreal. Montreal, if you don't watch hockey, you can't live in Montreal. That's why you live in Waterloo. You don't live in you don't live in Toronto. You don't live in Milton. Because if you lived in Montreal, you couldn't watch cricket. I can tell you that. In Toronto, they let you watch cricket too. They said, you
Mm,
know what? Waterloo, Milton, and London, you can watch cricket. You can watch cricket. You can watch rugby. Because the problem with you is you haven't been in Canada long enough. If you come to, you've never probably. I don't know if you ever went to Montreal, but when you go there, right? If you don't watch hockey, that's the only sport they watch. They don't watch anything else. They have a hockey team. They have a soccer team which nobody watches, the MLS. Like they're the dumbest person in the world. And they have a CFL team. They don't have a baseball team. They don't have a basketball team. They don't have a cricket team, right? They don't have yeah. And so at the end of
but
the
you got
day,
it. gotta admit though, Demidov looks like an
No,
all-star.
Davidoff is a good player, but he's not Wayne Gretzky. Don't get too excited. People in
Yeah, buddy,
Montreal,
Austin Matthews isn't a ski either.
But the problem with people in Montreal right now is when they see something really nice, they think he's Wayne Gretzky. Or, they think he's,
No, we
or they think he's some Maurice Richard or some big player, right? Because the problem is their leader is Suzuki. He's a good player. I like Nick Suzuki. He's Japanese. And I don't even know how he's playing in Montreal. He doesn't know how to spell French. But the thing is that I'm being honest.
French is crazy.
Because he's from London, Ontario. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to speak French. He's from Ontario, man. So I feel sorry for Nick Suzuki, because he's. That's good for him. He's like their captain.
Let me tell you something. I'm sure he does not feel sorry about himself. All right. So you could feel sorry for him, but I'm sure he doesn't feel sorry for himself.
No. I feel sorry for him because he's playing in a city where, there's a lot of
where you have the best fans in the world, right?
Not the best fans. They yell at him because he's Japanese every day.
They've never done that in their life. I don't know.
He's not
maybe you guys
French
do that to
Nick
maybe you guys do that to Robertson, Nick Robertson.
Nick Robertson plays in Toronto, which people don't care if you're Indian, Pakistani, Filipino,
it doesn't matter.
or Ethiopian
Arabic,
or a Crip, they don't care because. This is why Toronto has more fans and they win every day.
Okay,
it's because people are tolerant. They don't care if you're a Crip or you're running around It's not because you believe in Toronto, you believe in what they're doing. They don't care what you look like. They don't care what language you speak. This is why Toronto has more fans. You understand?
Let's bring it back. Yeah. So look, if Toronto were to be Ottawa, who do they play the Panthers after? Or who do they play between?
Well, it depends. Look, the Tampa Bay and Florida. I mean, Tampa Bay can be Florida. It's a rivalry. It's like India versus Pakistan. Anything can happen, right? I mean, let's be honest.
They're good matches. Yeah.
And Tampa Bay wins cups, so I mean, we're not gonna don't count Tampa Bay out. People think, okay, well, it's Tampa Bay. They're losers. Well, they've won a couple of cups in the last 10 years, so let's be honest.
They still have their core too. Kucherov.
They have pretty good. They have Vasilevsky. They have Victor.
Yeah, they have
a good
team.
They have Kucherov. They got guys moving around.
And John Cooper. Yeah, John Cooper is a good coach.
John Cooper's a good coach. He coached Team Canada. Let's be honest. So I mean, what he's doing.
If the Leafs were to beat the Senators, and I think it's going to be a very, very tough series, I don't see them getting past Tampa at all, and I don't see them getting past Florida even more at all.
Well,
let's be real here.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think they can beat Florida, but they beat Tampa all year. They beat them.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? The only thing I will give the Leafs is that they beat the Tampa a few years ago. But in that series, if you were to rewatch the series, Vasilevsky was utter trash. Let's be real, he was not good at all.
So that's a good point that you made. But even against Toronto this year, he's been trash. Toronto beats him all the time.
Yeah, but one thing I'll say, right? For example, the Sens have been good against the Leafs in the regular season, but I would never say that the Sens are a better matchup for the Leafs compared to the Leafs being a better matchup for the Sens, right? So I don't think you can equate regular season to playoff hockey that much.
No, well, the Leafs have beat the Sens in the past, so right. I mean,
but not this year, right?
No, it was the same thing. Even when the Leafs beat the Sens in the playoffs, they lost in the regular season 4 times.
Yeah, it's their same habits.
But the thing is that but you do has a good point where they don't have Matt Sundin and Gary Roberts. They don't have the toughness.
Yeah,
right?
you guys have Max Domi.
We used to have before, right? So
Max Domi.
We had Ty Domi. Max Domi's a pussy, right? He's not his guy. Let's be honest. I mean, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, we wish he was Ty Domi, but he's not, right? So, and he's not Darcy Tucker, right? So at this point in time, you do have a point. The Senators are tougher than the Leafs, right? Because they have the Kachucks, they have these type of guys that like to fight a lot, right? So they get the job done, right? I mean, you know what I mean?
And the Leafs, the Sens have the number one flopper in the whole league, which obviously Tim Stützle. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't care about the flopping. I mean, that's okay. We can deal with that. But it's the way the Sens play, right? they play a trap system, right? Which means that they don't open up the game like Tampa Bay, which is a good matchup for the Leafs, right? Those type of teams, which play like a little bit more of an open game, right? Even today, Montreal, right? If you watch the game today, they were playing a defensive system. They did, because they don't want to play like they don't want to go up and down with Toronto, right? Because if they go up and down, right, they're gonna lose because
No, that's actually not true.
So it
The
depends.
Habs are the best in rush chances. They're top five in rush scoring in the league. By the way,
No, it's not about rush scoring, but they play.
no, it is. You're on your point. It is.
No, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. How do they get a rush though? They get a rush by playing a trap, right? They can't rush up and down against Toronto. They don't have they can't they don't score enough goals, man. They don't have how many guys in Montreal have 20 goals this year? Nobody.
You know the Habs have the most people who have scored 10 goals in the whole league
And
compared
it's
to any other
garbage.
team.
10 is like scoring 10 runs in cricket.
No,
You're
it's
thinking
not, buddy.
about cricket again,
No,
man.
you guys, on a if you're talking about that, right?
That's like scoring
Who
like
who
20 runs. Like I can score
who
20 runs if I play
who
India or
who who
Pakistan.
who
I can
who
score
on
20
your
runs. My average is
who
25 runs, you know?
who on your decor
You know.
has is like Lane Hudson.
Well, we had
Who?
Marner on our decor today, man.
No,
Like we
no.
were
We don't need a
understanding.
Lane Hudson because we have Marner, Nylander,
No.
Tavares.
I'm talking about
We
your
got
decor.
five guys that have 20 goals. How many Habs have 20 goals, man? You know?
Gallagher, Suzuki, Caulfield, Anderson.
Gallagher doesn't have 20 goals. He's got 10 goals, man. Did you
No,
even Google?
Gallagher has 20 goals.
Yo,
When
Let
did
me
he
look
reach
at it.
20 goals?
right now.
Are you sure?
I think
Let me check it right now.
No, no.
Let's
Gallagher
check.
doesn't have 20 goals.
Either he either hit 15 or 20.
15 is garbage. That's like
No, I
cricket.
think he hit 20 though. Yeah, he hit 20. Yep, he's got 20 goals. He
Okay,
has
so
21. Suzuki, Caulfield,
So Caulfield has
Gallagher.
37, Suzuki has
Yep.
29, Gallagher has 21,
Okay.
Line has 20.
So the Leafs, you're saying that they
So you guys have 5, we got 4. What's the difference, yo?
there's a big difference, man.
Big difference, yo,
That's
guys.
20 goals. You don't know math? Did you go to Laurier too, or most of these guys went to Laurier? They're all dumb, right? They went to college, right? Yeah. It's a 20 goal difference, man. Like, what are you talking about? That's a lot. 20 goals, right?
Yeah, but we
We
have
have 6 guys.
this season, actually.
who do you guys have? No, I think Slavkovsky's at like 19 goals or something like that.
Yeah,
too.
McMahon.
Yeah, you're thinking,
at
right?
20.
You don't know though. There's
Marner,
a difference.
26 goals.
Yeah.
Nice, 29. Matthews, 30. Underwhelming season. John Tavares,
Tavares,
37. And Nylander
yeah.
with 44.
Nylander,
Nylander's like
Matthews
second
has
in the whole league,
Matthews has 30 goals, right?
Down
Marner has
season for
fucking
Matthews.
30 goals. Toronto has 7 players that have 20 goals, man. McCann has 20 goals, for God's sake. Look at McCann's fucking stats. Yeah, McCann has 20 goals, right?
Yeah, he does. Yep,
Yeah.
McMahon, yeah.
Yeah, Toronto has 7 guys, 8 guys that have 20 goals. Montreal has 4 guys. Do the mathematics, man. Did you go to Laurier too?
Yes,
Of course you
William.
did.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
So you're behind again, right? Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. So I mean, like, you need to go to Waterloo. There's only one school in Waterloo. It's called University of Waterloo, man. Guys should remember that, right? Like, I mean, all the smart people go there, right? Yeah. Be honest, right? Like, so I mean, yeah. Well, all the Chinese and the guys that have 90 averages, they go to Waterloo, right? They don't fool around. Right?
Yeah, we don't. They don't be watching Leafs
No,
passionately.
they're
like
all
you,
Leaf fans. They're not Montreal fans. The Montreal fans, they don't even have 20 goals, man. Like they got like 2 guys got 20 goals there. Why would they follow Montreal? They're stupid. They live in
Because
Waterloo, man.
4 equals 2, eh?
Sorry?
Yeah, for you. You just said 4 guys have 20 goals. Now 4 equals 2.
Of course, we got Nylander's got like 39 goals,
You missed the
40
point.
goals.
No, we're
What do
talking
you
about
call
playoffs.
it?
And
Tavares has
this is
got
the problem with Leafs
37.
fans.
I mean, like Marner's got like what?
Let me tell you the
26.
problem with Leafs fans. You guys are so fixated about your regular season that you guys can't get past the first round. If I'm being realistic here, no.
No,
But
okay.
like
Well, there
you
you
were
go.
not
Then,
meant to be in the
yeah. So I
playoffs.
mean,
We made it into the playoffs over the Islanders, the Rangers, the Jackets.
yeah. So you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Montreal only plays one sport, right? Hockey. They don't play baseball. They don't play basketball. They don't play any sport. So for
called going to the
them,
finals. There's something called going to the finals and then rebuilding.
Montreal Canadiens, their standard, they have the most cups. Okay, let's be honest, right? But if they're happy to just make the playoffs and sneak in like a rat that was running around in Florida,
Yep,
right?
like the rats.
And that's going to lose to Washington in the first round. I mean, that's embarrassing for the Montreal Canadiens, right?
Because you never heard of anything about rebuilding,
because you live in Waterloo, right? You don't know, right? If you come here, come to my place in Montreal. Most of the Montreal Canadian fans, you know what they're saying? They want
Jay, you're talking about you. Jay, you live in Ottawa?
I live in the Ottawa area. I live in Embrun,
I feel for you.
No, I'm okay.
Listen,
because we have the Leaf fans are everywhere. There's more Leaf fans.
But you know, let me tell you something. When the Habs play the Sens in Ottawa, there's more Habs fans than Sens fans in the building.
Yeah, but Ottawa just beat the fucking Montreal 5-2 yesterday. Okay? So, I mean, Ottawa's going to kill Montreal. If they play them in the playoff series, they're going to sweep Montreal. You know that?
Yeah, you know what that would mean? That means that they beat you guys too because they
they won't beat us. They've never beat us in the playoffs. They can beat Montreal in their sleep because they just slaughtered them 5-2 yesterday. Because my buddies were at the game and Montreal, that's why they're not in the playoffs yet. They still need one more point, man. But don't count your chickens. They got Carolina tomorrow. So I mean,
no, they don't have Carolina tomorrow.
They're in big trouble.
No, they don't have Carolina tomorrow. They have on Monday. They're playing.
They got Chicago on Monday. You think they're gonna beat Carolina?
They got Chicago on Monday.
Yeah, Chicago is not easy. They got Bedard, man. Maybe they upset.
Yeah,
Montreal.
we got Demidov, yo.
Demidov. He's never played a game in his life in the NHL, man. Bedard's got 25 goals.
Jay.
Yeah.
Jay, let's refocus here. So we'll just pass it to all the facts for any final thoughts and conclusion, you know?
Well, the thing is that the conclusion is if we're talking about the Leafs, we're probably going to be playing Ottawa in the first round, right? It's going to be a tough series. But at the end of the day, we should be able to beat Ottawa. It might take 6 or 7 games, right? But the thing is, I'm assuming that Marner, he's been crying that he wants to stay in Toronto because he's from Thornhill, right? So if he wants to stay in Toronto, then he needs to show up in the playoffs and show that we can beat Ottawa in the first round, which we've never lost to Ottawa in the playoffs in our lives.
You know,
if we don't lose, if we lose to them this year,
y'all need Matthews and Tavares to step up too.
No, Tavares is gonna step up because he's looking for a contract. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, right? Tavares, Nylander, right, and Marner, they're gonna show up. The reason is because Marner is on his last year of the contract, right? Tavares is on his last year, right? Nylander always shows up for the playoffs. Even when we played Boston and Florida, he has a good series, right? The one person that I need to show up, and when we started the stupid podcast, please trade Matthews. People were laughing at me. They were saying I'm dumb, I'm stupid, right? This is why, because Matthews, since he's been in Toronto, he's been a regular season player. And he's the captain. When you're a captain of a team, it's your responsibility to show up in the playoffs, right? Because if I put a C on Harris, it's my job to make sure that I am showing up for when it counts, right? Because I put a C on Harris, right? I put a C.
Right.
Yeah.
C, because you don't deserve the C. If you don't show up in the playoffs, right? Nick Suzuki, which is good for Montreal, give you an example, or Ottawa, you have Kachuk. Those guys, they show up, right? Like, you know that, right? They're going to show up, right? Whatever, when Montreal gets in the playoffs, Suzuki's going to have a good, he's going to play well, right? Kachuk is going to play well, right? Everybody's playing well. Then that means what the f*** is Matthews doing? If he's not playing well and he's getting $14 million, he, like Connor McDavid, he has a C on his jersey. He took the Edmonton Oilers to Game 7, right? So he justified the $14 million that he gets paid for, right? Like Florida was just a better team, maybe by inches, because of the way they play, right? But you can't blame Connor McDavid. He took the Oilers to Game 7, right? Last year, right?
Yeah, for being
So
3-0 down.
you can't say that Connor McDavid didn't show up in the first round or the second round or the third round, right? You know what I mean? Nathan McKinnon, right? He's a captain. The Colorado Avalanche, they won a cup. Why? Because the guy shows up in the playoffs, right? Example, right? Now, same thing with like the Las Vegas Knights. Mark Stone's the captain. They won a cup, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, when you have a C on your jersey, like, you have to justify that C, right? If you're not justifying it, then you give it to somebody else, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Now, Harris, can we any final thoughts?
Honestly, just more of the
Yeah,
same.
so I personally.
No, Harris, bro.
No, because I would say, because I agree
Sorry,
with what the talking with Jay is saying. Austin Matthews really has to show up, and a big reason why is that he's been a regular season player, and statistically, let's say he keeps that track, right? He could retire as possibly the greatest Leaf of all time. But here's the thing: he needs to have possibly that one playoff run where it's memorable to Leaf fans, or that one deep playoff run that's just memorable to Leaf fans. Right?
Exactly.
Again,
So he has to be a Sunni.
And another
He
point,
has to be somebody that's going to go out there and take them on a run. The Leafs, I'm going to be honest with you, if they don't get to the conference finals this year, if I'm in Leafs management, if I'm the owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs, you know what I'm doing? I'm firing everybody. I'm starting with Shanahan, right? And you know what? I'm gonna let Marner go. I'm gonna keep Nylander. I'm gonna keep. I'll give Tavares because he's had a good year, right? He deserves a contract. I'll keep Marner, right? Matthews, they have to leave Toronto. Matthews has to leave. Marner has to leave. They have to change their team, right? The reason being is because we've tried the same thing for 6-7 years. It hasn't worked, right? Like we've won one round, right? This is why people make fun of Leaf fans, right? It's because this team has the talent, but they're not playing to their talent in the playoffs when it counts, right? So this
You know what I'll
is
say,
why we
right?
get embarrassed.
This can be like a make or break year for Toronto, because if you guys don't beat the Sens, right? I'm not gonna lie, I don't see Tavares coming back. He's getting
If
old.
they
He's gonna
don't
want to
beat
play for
the
a contender.
Sens, then it's totally over.
I don't see Marner wanting to come back either.
No, nobody's coming back, my
That's
friend.
your core gone. Like that's you're gonna have a core. You're gonna have a core of Matthew Nyes and Bobby McMahon. You're gonna be getting rid of. So
No, I get it. But you know what? At the end of the day, even with that core, we're still going to be better than Montreal, to be honest with you, because the problem is you guys have garbage players, right? But the thing is that we still won't be worrying about trying to get into the playoffs. But you're right, because as Leaf fans, we're trying to win a cup. We're not trying to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Montreal has been trying to make the playoffs. There's a difference between Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. No. Ottawa hasn't made the playoffs either in 15 years. This is the first time they're making it.
Ottawa has been wanting to make the playoffs the last 2 years. Montreal, we just started a rebuild 2
wanting
years
is
ago.
different. Making it is different. Right? But Ottawa, the last time they made the playoffs is when I actually moved to Ottawa, which was in 2000, when they went.
What was it, like Alfredson? I don't even know.
No, Alfredson wasn't there. It was Eric Carlson.
They made the
they were one game away from the finals.
Yes.
Yeah, against Pittsburgh. If you've been watching hockey, right?
And it was
They went to the
overtime, too,
conference final. That was the last time they made the playoffs, which has been about 7 or 10 years, just like Montreal, right? So basically, what I'm trying to say is that
we
at
went to
the
the
end
finals,
of the day, Toronto still, like, even if all these losers leave, right? Like if Marner has to leave, if they have to let these guys go, but Toronto still has enough talent to make the playoffs every year. But the problem with Toronto Maple Leafs is we don't want to just make the playoffs. We want to win a cup. This is our goal, not just to get into a playoff, which Montreal and Ottawa are barely. They need, like, Ottawa, at least they're in now. Montreal is still 1 point. They need one more point, and today is the 80th game, and they're still not in the playoffs. So for Montreal Canadiens, if you know their history, they have the most cups. For them to, on the last day, they're still trying to make the playoffs. That's embarrassing, man. I'm sorry. Because you know
Yo,
what? They should have been in the playoffs 3 weeks ago.